Welcome back to Metaphor ReFantazio. It is our last few days before we head out to the final dungeon.
Really?
And in terms of requests, we've only got one left and I want to make sure that I take that on tonight. And for that reason, I need to do something that is going to give me some free time at night. So, okay then. I was going to spend this day fishing to get the ingredients for a sublime spoonful, then spend the next day on the road so I could cook some more of these. Slight problem. Fishing only gets you 2 Queen's honey jars. And if I fished again for more the next day, I wouldn't have time to cook, so I actually can't get any more of these. Oh, I have some things that I can sell here, and I also have a few things that I can appraise. Well, just one, it's probably not going to be very good. No, it's not. The reason I was here, though, was to buy more Dream Eater moths. I believe that's what's required for Cursed Love Ballad. Because yes, now I have 99 of all the ingredients for these. When it comes to things to do before the end of the game, one of them is to obtain all of the masks and talismans in special experiments to get the achievement for getting all of them. So, I've been looking at, I've linked these documents earlier in the playthrough. I'll probably link them in the description again in this video because they're great. There's a spreadsheet that has a full bestiary of this game, and you can open up a filter view to filter by location of enemies and item drops. And by doing this, I have realized there are only 3 masks that don't drop from enemies in the final dungeon. Lovers, Devil, and Judgment. So I was going to recommend that you use the Gauntlet Runner to travel to dungeons that have enemies that drop these. There's just one problem. There are only 2 enemies that drop the Lover's Mask. Helmsman Carbio back in the Caradrius during the Brailhaven arc, and Milo the Adonis. It does not drop from normal enemies. The good news is those 2 bosses have a 100% chance of dropping it, but if you steal in the fight, you can get more. If you don't do that though, there is 1 Lover's Mask in the Skybound Avatar as a blue item. If you don't miss that, you are guaranteed to have 3 Lover's Masks, and that is all you need to make Healer, Cleric, and the Mercy Mask. But if you make any duplicates of the Healer and Cleric masks, you might be out of luck. The Devil Mask is required for Assassin, Summoner, and Devil Summoner. It is only dropped by the gargoyles in the Dragon Temple and the Skybound Avatar. Now, you're going to be fighting a lot of those just going through those dungeons normally. Unfortunately, both those dungeons cannot be revisited. Wait, the Dragon Temple is a one-time dungeon?
What? You're sure?
Yeah, if you try and go to the Dragon Temple anytime after the Virga arc or defeating the Elegy of the Soul in the final arc, Galaga won't let you. There is no way to farm those gargoyles after finishing this and the Skybound Avatar. And then there's the Judgment Mask. You need this for the Seeker, General, which is a very important one that you might actually want to make duplicates of, and Dancer's Masks. The Judgment Mask is only dropped by Guard Chief Salva, again in the Caradrius one-time dungeon in the Brailhaven arc. You can also find one as an item on the floor in the Tower of Insolence, but that's also only one time. As you can see here though, Devil and Judgment Masks are being sold by the wary shopkeep in Brailhaven. The stock of masks here rotates out on every day, and on Idol's Day, he doesn't sell any masks. The problem is you can only buy 1 of each mask per day. On Flames Day, he sells the full Magician, Priestess, Empress, and Emperor masks. On Water's Day, he sells Hierophant, Lovers, Chariot, Justice, and Hermit masks. On Arbor's Day, he sells Fortune, Strength, Hanged Man, Death, and Temperance, and on Metal's Day, he sells Devil, Tower, Star, Moon, Sun, Judgment. So yeah, basically they go through in Arcana order. Oh, okay, and he does actually have dialogue if you defeated the Elegy of the Soul, that's cool. We had a nice reward and got to hear an interesting story. Doesn't this just sum up your reward for every RPG side quest? I mean, you can find out about the towers before you talk to a Denny. In fact, you don't even need to talk to a Denny at all, but let's not tell him that. I'm actually here to divine the weather in Alterbury. Okay, tomorrow it's going to be fine. Well, as fine as Dread can be. So that frees me up to do the cooking today and do the thing in Alterbury Day tomorrow. Because what I'm gonna do is, well, it actually doesn't matter where I travel, but it's nice to travel near Virga Island because, like, that's kind of been the most homely place to us.
Is something bad?
That's where you want to go.
We don't fly to the Orbwise Path, thankfully, so if you want to do any last-minute fishing, this is how you'll do it. Slight problem. As I said before, I actually can't get enough Queen's Honey Jars to make the Sublime Spoonful, so there's no real point to me fishing. But I can have everyone put their backs into it and cook us an absolute feast of cursed love ballads in preparation for the finale.
Okay, so...
Having a massive stock of these, and yeah, this is a perfect example of how you only make one additional dish regardless of how many of something you make. It doesn't just double your dish count. But yeah, having a good stock of these is vital for farming mag in the final dungeon, and it's nice to have that option for New Game Plus. You know what? I always use one of the final optional periods before the final battle in my Persona playthroughs to spend time with my chosen romance option. So, let's do that here. Face myself, speaking of Persona.
I'm very happy.
Not this an especially intimate moment. Rare instance of you for having an almost snarky looking portrait.
May I?
Yeah, I've actually experienced meditation before, and it is very hard to think about basically nothing. Howl. Yeah, breathe deeply is the option that gives the most mag here. As always, thank you so much, Metaphor Guidebook, for listing the best options for every single event in the game. It's just completely, like, it's absolutely amazing.
All right.
I honestly cannot recommend the Metaphor Guidebook enough. No, 2,000 mag's pretty good.
Farewell.
And then we get even more additional mag on top of that. So this is going to take me to the Orbwise Path, but as long as I don't actually go into the dungeon, I'll still be able to keep my free nighttime. This is a nice technique to know for later in the game when you are just wanting to go out to cook or fish.
Okay then. Right?
It's funny how Gallica tells you, we haven't actually done anything, but this is of vital importance because this is the last night that I have to do something. But why would I ever want to keep this nighttime free? I mean, there's nothing important going on tonight. I mean, we've got this quest, but that's just handing over a bunch of money to some villagers. Not really sure why I put it off for this long.
The truth is...
But it's our last loose end in terms of quest before facing Luis, so let's do it tonight.
You will? Really? Thank you.
I do like how this village ends up getting, all this money in the end. Unfortunately, they're gonna forever know Alonso as the evil person who cheated them. But that was just part of his gambit. Yeah, he's gonna go down as the one who led to his mother's death, too.
Why?
What do we exactly... there's no good way to say this. We have to keep up Alonso's lie, but... it hurts when we know just how good of a person he was. So let's return to the inn to reminisce.
Are you, perchance, looking for this? Did my last words have you in tears? What's with you? You look like you've seen a ghost.
I mean, technically he is.
How are you even alive?
What? Did you want me dead? Sorry to disappoint, but as you can see, I'm no spectre. Even if the world would have preferred otherwise, I plan to keep living. As long as you and my mother wish for it.
He wouldn't have it any other way.
Consider the letter a bit of a stage prop.
I did describe that as Alonso's greatest lie. I meant that in more ways than one. Oh, and these options do matter for Mag, by the way.
But everything you wrote was sincere.
The top option gives you more here. For the rest, any option gives you the most.
Quite so. Alas, did my deceit diminish my sincerity? I'm sure you've told your fair share of lies as well. The same is true of all your future subjects. No man or woman is completely honest.
Yeah, this also reminds me of this movie called The Invention of Lying, which just shows what kind of, like, just how much of an uncanny valley it would be to live in a world where nobody can possibly lie. Like, for one, there's no such thing as fiction in that world.
Fiction has its role to play in supporting people. Like with you in that book you hold so dear, yes?
And of course, you have to say the word fiction right after I did.
But there comes a time in all lives where reality starts to give chase. It closes in on us eventually. So when that time comes, well, if that time comes, we'll run from it for as long as we can. Is that so wrong? Of course not. It all comes back to weakness. But it's weakness that makes people interesting. I find it endearing.
Well, minus finding weakness endearing, I do think this is a very, almost profound statement, and it actually sums up why I enjoy most of the fiction that I do. A lot of it involves characters with very complicated stories coming to terms with their own weaknesses. It's why I like characters like Kevin Graham or Dimitri.
Should you ever have need of deception, you can rely on me. I'll be at your service, no matter where or when.
I mean, we might be needing a spy master when we become king.
I'll be counting on you, Alonso.
And I, you. Now, go on and show me that new world of yours. Oh, that reminds me. When I was giving my regards to the landowner, he said that you had called me your friend. A long time ago, my mother once told me to keep my friends close. She said that one's parents are bound to depart this world first, but friends would stand by me for life. Back then, I couldn't see past trying to keep her alive.
Oh, that's also very, very interesting. There's a lot of good life lessons in Alonso's Bond, particularly this rank.
But now, I think you and I might just have a future. So long, young majesty.
There's some speculation on how Alonso survived his staged execution. A lot of people think it has something to do with the Nydia glamours. Many think that he used the glamour so that the top part of his body was actually intangible, and so being decapitated didn't really do anything. They were just decapitating the illusion part of his body. It's hard to tell just how much the Nydia illusions are actually people can just phase through them and how much of them are actually solid. I like to think that they're solid, but they can make them unsolid when they want to. That would explain how Alonso did that. Unsolid, I don't think that's a word, but still. Oh right, that doesn't actually use up any time. We still have our evening. And that is what unlocks the Bond's Unfettered Alonso entry, so you will miss out on the memorandum entry if you don't do that quest. But also, that was, I believe, the last side quest we needed to finish for the Help Everyone in Need achievement. The last quest we have is one we're guaranteed to finish in the story, and fittingly, it's saving the whole country. In your last few free night times, although you will have a free night time tomorrow, you might want to make sure that you buy things like the Utilitarian's Manual. Having enough to cover a full party is nice, but you may actually want as many as 7 of them in case you want to give some to your reserves. 7's obviously the absolute maximum you'll need. Okay, I have 6. I think I'll... Okay, no. You know what? I'll get the full stock of 7. But then I'll sell a bunch of unneeded weapons to make up the money. I'm never selling Dragon's Judgment, though. That has too much sentimental value. Significantly increase fire and ice attack strength on gunner weapons. These are clearly meant for Dragoon. Unfortunately, they didn't realize that Dragoon sucked. I can get these resist accessories. Honestly, I would rather have anything... Like, there are much stronger things I'd rather be using my accessory slot on than these, but I may as well get them, just to have the option of weakness covering. While I'm at it, let's get the Dusk Pendant,
Thank you, kind.
because the other magic shops don't sell anything that protects against darkness. And I can also buy the Carpenter Pendant while I'm here. So if you have both of these and either one of, like, the light-dark protecting armors, you can give Berserker no weaknesses. Oh, I don't have enough holy water to upgrade these. That's annoying. So that's another thing that you can do with your free time. Going to the Disgraced Ruins to, remember, don't fight the mimics in the field, steal from them to get the heavenly water. But you can farm heavenly water there if there's some last-minute purifications you want done. Now that I have Royal Berserker, I'm gonna swap this over to Asura's hands to get a second slash amp. It's actually slash surge, but it's the same as amp from SMT and Persona. And now that I've beaten the dragon, I could switch to a different elemental repel. Let me check what elements Luis uses. Well, he has everything, but he does have slightly more wind skills than any other elements. I guess that makes him a dark foil to the Seeker archetype. Fitting. And there's really nothing productive that I can do with this evening, but I thought we'd spend this time... Oh, hey, they've got the posters for us here. I figured we'd spend this time learning more about the Mustari's traditions.
Really?
Already have max tolerance, but still.
I shall tell you.
You only need to see this village cleric once to get a memorandum entry, but again, nice to learn more about the Mustari. Okay, so this is their new history that they've recently learned.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Mustari and Montario are very interesting. I think I've already, shown some of the NPC dialogue that talks about them there, but they basically keep some of their old traditions alive, but they've also slightly assimilated into the Sanctus culture at the same time. There are a lot of real-world cultures that are very similar to that.
The day of the hero draws near, which shall see the crowning of a new king. 2 days remain.
And now, it's the last day of free time.
Look.
And, well, last day for one of those care packages, too.
So, tis finally time.
I'm going.
Let us greet the rising dawn hand in hand, as Juna's song would say.
It's time.
Yeah.
And then... Pardon?
And one last beg pardon. You do have full interactivity tonight as well, so that is still an option, but remember that some shops only open during the day. Don't worry that much about stocking up on consumables. There will be a way to buy those in the final dungeon. It's weapons, armor, igniters, and magic shop items that you want to be concerned with. And I did say I was going to buy one of these just to flex. Oh, I can afford this without even selling anything. Nice. So, flex time. Also, I need to remove that igniter that you've... I don't know how she equipped that. I think I was just doing that to get rid of an accessory that she had before. Yeah, none of the pieces of armor you can buy from Grand Trav have any particularly amazing effects to them. Like, even this one is like, it's like the best, of the, light armors they sell, and it's still way worse than what everybody currently has equipped. So we're good, and this time, I'm gonna not forget to get a steam bun. Also remember that it is Idols Day, so...
Alright.
One last time... Aside from strength, all of his stats are going in a descending staircase. And this is also your last chance to get gauntlet shrooms from the pantry if you want to cook anything today, which is certainly a good option. Okay, that took way too long for something that I was just doing to flex and because it was fitting, because I'm not actually going to use these gauntlet shrooms. They will carry over to New Game Plus though, I believe.
What now?
A precious edible mushroom that only grows on gauntlet runners. And... how I'm going to be spending this last day might seem a little anticlimactic, but...
Stay there.
it is helping someone make their daughter smile. I think that fits for us. So, we're going to build a snowman, and this can raise imagination. This can only be done in the day in Altaberry Heights.
Wow.
She requested a cat-like snowman. Now, there are 3 different possible ways this can go depending on your choices. And weirdly, the one that does not result in a cat actually gives the most imagination. Every one of them gives a really good amount of imagination. But yes, so small and slender leads to the cat. But if we choose round and paunchy...
Look at that.
Really?
I mean, you know, we could be making her ugly.
Let's see.
What is the first thing that comes to mind when thinking of a cat's head? A pointy headscarf!
What? All right. Then...
How to finish it off? Keep it simple, hyper-realism, make it feel alive. So, to get the cat, you choose small and slender, pointy ears, and hyper-realism. To get this option, you choose round and paunchy, headscarf, and make it feel alive. Any other combination results in a generic snowman, which gives you the worst imagination boost. It's still a pretty big one, though. It's plus 11. This one is plus 15, though. Yep. In trying to make a cat, we have caused a fusion accident and made Jack Frost instead. Impressed that you made the blue parts, though. Like, how did you do that? Did you somehow put colored pigment in the snow?
How cute!
It's incredible.
But yeah, she likes it even more than she'd like the cat. Oh, it's nice to see her run around like that.
Hey!
Alright.
Yeah, that gives plus 15, the cat gives plus 13, and generic snowman is plus 11.
Really?
Sure.
Right? Let's see. No, kid. All right. Then...
Alright.
yeah.
Say, whoa now.
Wow! Oh, wow!
Alright.
Say, I see.
Oh, wow! Yep.
Alright.
Fine.
Finally.
But, as you can see here, tonight is a special event.
You could say.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like, this just does go to show that sometimes in politics, you may have to make alliances with people that, might be a little unscrupulous, but the thing is, we do need to take down Luis, and he is way worse. We need to take solace in the fact that all of those Ukrainian, like, upper nobles are going to be kicked out once we become king. And they know that, but being kicked out of office is preferable to being dead, so they'll choose us over Luis. But yeah, Battlin's great. This almost feels like Battlin's, like, final Bond event.
Isn't that... I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
How goes it?
I admire your spirit, I guess? But don't do that, actually.
So, I'll see you later.
Oh, I'm sure you've got some great
All good.
speeches prepared for the entire populace. If only we had some kind of, you know, magnification magic that would let you give those speeches to the entire world. I feel like we need it right now. So, yeah, Gallica's saying, turn in any requests now. You can still turn in, like, the recruitment center bounties.
Fancy a bit of info?
We can still buy from the informant at a discounted price, somehow. But tonight, we have final events for every single Bond, and we have maxed them all. Yeah, that's also worth an achievement, but, you didn't see that because I've already got it. Oh, this journey's not going to come to an end. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of each other in the future. Not just professionally, we're absolute bros at this point.
At last.
I'll be going through everyone in order. I mean, I feel like we're already going to be having a lot of hot meals we're all going to be having a hot meal together at the Honeybee Inn, but I guess we could have a separate one with Stroll. We have, a bottomless stomach. I do wonder how Will's stomach even worked back when he was just a fantasy brought to life. I mean, I suppose being the prince's self-insert character, he basically liked whatever foods the prince liked.
Huh?
These ones all do have best answers for the maximum mag, so you'll be getting a lot of mag tonight.
No.
If you're just playing the game on your own though, don't stress about choosing the best answers. It's not like Persona where it does affect your schedule. We're gonna fight and win. We have 7 utilitarians, manuals, and peerless stone cleaves on our side.
Yeah.
If Fabienne and Maria are already getting involved now, I wonder how their final event is going to be. Oh, that wave is nice. I would kind of like to see, like that's my other idea for a potential sequel to Metaphor. A game set like, you know, I don't know, like 20 or 15 years later when Maria is old enough to be like a protagonist. Yeah, I do plan on talking about Luis's ideology once we get into the Skybound, once we get into the final dungeon. Yeah, it's just anyone who dies, it's just, it was their fault. They weren't strong enough. Yeah, it is very interesting just how helping everyone in need, it seems like a naive, just, oh hey, we're nice to everyone, kind of slogan at first, but it is the ultimate antithesis to Luis's ideology. Luis is about, no one needs help, and in fact, the very act of helping other people is inherently a pointless, useless thing and the sign of being weak.
Take this.
And relying on the help from others is a sign of being weak. So, every one of these bonds gives you a unique item. You'll only be able to talk to characters tonight whose bonds you've maxed.
It'll be alright.
Though I do wish these were fully voiced. Don't worry, we'll get our fair share of incredible fully voiced dialogue in the finale of the story. Crested Shortsword, +3 strength and +2 endurance when channeling the warrior lineage. If you're wondering about Gallica, we'll automatically talk to her when we go to bed. Oh yeah, this is that fight with Rodanth.
Well, sure.
Yes.
Hopefully he didn't get broken out of jail during all the chaos in the capital. That is a very poetic way of saying that. Ha. Interestingly, yeah, this actually doesn't give anything. Learn to live with it gives you the most, but that does tie into the themes of this game.
I see.
In a way, actually, that actually does kind of relate to me when it comes to dealing with my anxiety disorder, because really, learning to live with it is the only real way to quiet an OCD. You have to not fight it. In fact, I found a book that talked about a metaphor about a lion. There's this lion that's roaring in your face, and you can feed the lion, and that will quiet it for a time, but it will just come back even stronger. The only way to deal with the lion is to ignore it, despite how intense its roaring can be, because that will starve it, and that way it will not be able to come back stronger. Either of these gives the most.
No.
Indeed.
So, similar to Stroll, but he's kind of focusing more on ideologies for the country, where she's focusing more on ways to be strong as an individual.
That's why. I thank you.
The Prince and his, I guess Hulkenberg's like the Jagan, but she's still pretty decent at this point. I know that a lot of people don't like Hulkenberg that much as a party member, because later on, offense is far better than defense, because, like, you know, who needs tanking when you can just kill the enemies before they can hit you? But I still find her useful, especially in a first-time playthrough where you haven't discovered the broken combos yet, and especially on hard mode, it's actually quite good to inherit healing skills on a good tank, so I do really enjoy using Hulkenberg, and the repel skills, although they are unreliable, they are pretty fun when they work. Heisme is definitely a better way to get rid of the enemy's press turns, though. I know they don't actually call it press turns in this game, it's turn icons, but I like to say press turn because Shin Megami Tensei. Oh, speaking of Heisme, okay, you know what? Maybe I should go through these bonds more in the order that we got them, rather than the order that they are listed. So, let's see. Also, Maria was like right next to me, but that teleport actually further away from her. Well, kind of. Does mean that I have to flip around a lot in my guidebook, but it's worth it.
And then...
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Sure.
Okay.
Glad to know that things are going really well for Maria. Yeah... I suppose if we deal with Luis soon, then his followers won't have to start becoming his private army and attacking people.
If so.
I see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maria is still pretty great. I know that I, you know, said before that I wasn't that big a fan of this Bond, but that's only relative. One of the best things about Metaphor is it's just so hard to pick a favorite character. Everyone is just so good that it's just... Like, I'm just thinking, it's like, maybe it's like, for me, maybe it's Basilio or Yufa, or Heismay, or Nura sometimes.
This.
Yeah, for the last question for all of them, it's usually every option gives you 4 triangles. I suppose next up would be Brigida. I'm pretty sure even after you've talked to everyone, you still have, like, full autonomy over when you end this period, so if you need to do some last-minute shopping, don't worry about, you know, losing your time just by talking to all the Bonds. Yeah, neither of these actually give any mag. Jet shoes. You know, sometimes kids do have the best ideas for things.
Right.
This reminds me of the movie Big, I think it's called, where the guy just, the kid just sort of wakes up as an adult one day, and he ends up, like, going to a job at a toy company, and obviously he gives all the best ideas for toys because he's actually a kid.
Fair point.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yes. Listen.
I wonder if Brigida can become our equivalent of what the Igniter Consortium head did for the current regime. Like, Brigida's very, very interesting. I admit that, like, personality-wise, I feel like she's very much not the kind of person that I would get along with in real life. But I do think that her history and what she plans to do in the world is very interesting and admirable.
Here. Try not to die.
So, thank you for everything, Brigida. I suppose next on the list will be Nuras. I am saving more for last. And I do like how he's listed right at the bottom. He is pretty much an honorary party member. It reminds me of how in Final Fantasy V they considered the Regalia a party member, but I think they can get away with it a lot more in this game because you have a much bigger party. Final Fantasy 15, did I say 5? I meant 15. Final Fantasy 15's problem for me was there was only 4 party members. Whoa, we're actually heading to, like, Virga Island now? I mean, I would say Nuros is probably not the kind of person to believe in wishing on stars, but, you know, he was always wanting to go into the sky. Showering us with dragon crystals. Ugh, don't remind me, that freaking memorandum entry that's completely random? Oh yeah, we know that thanks to the memorandum.
True.
Yeah, the memorandum also explained that they're part of the Gauntlet Runner too.
Yep.
You've gone above the horizon. Beyond the horizon, you could say.
But
You know, actually, are there any fanfics about Nuros and Brigida meeting? I wonder if that would be interesting. Like, I mean, I feel like they do work in slightly different areas, but Brigida still does work in science to an extent. As always, that is so cool. Never change Neuros. Neuros changing the world, one invention at a time. I mean, there's a lot of, like, you know, inventor archetype characters in fiction. I would say Neuros is one of my favorites. In fact, I think, hang on, I'll find the quote. Yeah, Charles Conroy during his Hard Gold playthrough said, "I love the smart scientist who's also kind of a doofus," and when he said that, my mind instantly went, Neuros, Neuros, Neuros. Dragon Crystal Specimen. Our first one he ever found. Yeah, that is pretty highly sentimental.
I'll do it.
Yeah, without Neuros, we'd be totally screwed. He's way more important to the story of Eucrodia than anybody would ever imagine. Hopefully the history books will remember to recognize that. So even though we technically met Barden first, I'm gonna go Heisme now.
Finally.
As we reminisce on the Martira storyline, one that I do think is pretty good overall. It's on a smaller scale than a lot of the others, but it works for what it is. Heisme's introduction is excellent. And I accidentally pressed the wrong button there. The third option was the best one. I was just flipping over to my guidebook for the best answers, and I didn't realize that it was right on the question, and I pressed the X button again. Yeah, this is kind of dark. He used to just straight up have a drinking problem. Okay, this one is important though, because this one gives you 4 even before the last option. The bottom option there only would have given 2. So, it was actually mentioned when I did Heisme's rank 8. Oh yeah, this one actually doesn't give anything. But yeah, it was mentioned in the comments that if you do Heisme's rank 8 after Yufa joins, then the pendant that he put his son's ashes in was made by her. So that's one with a significant change based on when you do it in the story. So now I feel kind of bad that I did it before Yufa joined, but also I like the fact that he was our first maxed out Bond. Although I really feel like that only happened because he's a nighttime Bond, and we had a lot less, you know, a lot more free nighttime slots back then. Ashen Meteorite Bracelets. That sounds like a rain accessory from Cold Steel. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I do like how Heisme's basically like a dad to Will. One of them, at least. We've actually got quite a few dad-like figures. Neuros, more. I wouldn't say Barden, though. Barden's more a, nice authority figure that we know. I still think the Nighttime Martira theme vaguely sounds like Strangers in the Night. It's very obviously not a perfect match, but still.
The truth is,
yeah, participating in security activities. Thankfully, it's not you're sending your security forces everywhere and locking down the entire city and giving everyone no freedom. Yeah, either of these two give you something. It's interesting that Will can sense how tired he is. Yes, finally Barton has learned that. No more police states for you.
It'll be fine.
thank you truly.
In a way, though, Barden's almost a bit of a microcosm of what Will will eventually have to deal with. Governing an entire country is just this on a massive scale. So he's already seen somebody who discovered what not to do, but was able to turn himself around.
You.
Yeah, now he's saying what I was saying. I'll just ask them. This actually reminds me that, when I was saying about the whole, you know, rightful king return story, the kind of Aragorn archetype, and how, you know, it might not have aged well because, you know, people these days tend to be very critical of monarchy.
You know,
somebody in the comments mentioned something that I kind of had forgotten, but it makes a lot of sense. The thing about most of these Rightful King Return stories is they were often raised among the common folk and spent most of their life among the common folk, and that's what makes them more worthy to be king when they return to the throne, not their bloodline. Like, Aragorn was a classic example. He lived most of his life as a ranger out in the wilds, helping people. So that's yet another reason why I feel like the twist of Will being the prince all along doesn't really detract from the story's themes, because he's an example of that. He's truly worthy because he actually knows and understands the struggles of the people in this whole country.
Don't you worry. Have a look.
Oh, so it's not just a gift from Barden, it's a gift from all the townspeople. Desert, oh, that sounds really cool. I'd like one of these. Although, given that it's made from sandworm bits, I'm pretty sure Hulkenberg would like it too, though she'd probably try and eat it. I just realized that I haven't spent time with Katharina yet. We technically met her earlier, but, I kind of consider her a final arc Bond character, just because of, like, you know, you don't start the manual rank ups until then, but, we also met Alonso. You know what? Let's actually talk to Katharina and Alonso next. If I'm remembering right, this one is interesting. It's either this or after the final battle. I feel like there's a lot of worse things you call Luis than just a blighter, but still.
Hey,
So in this case, it's the first two bottom options and then anything.
many thanks.
I do agree with a lot of, like, criticisms that some people have of this. It's narratively, writing-wise, it's probably my least favorite Bond. But her abilities are still pretty useful. I'd say mechanically, I still think Neuros is the worst Bond. Though still rank it up enough to get Sniper, because that's great. Yeah, no, this is an interesting thing. Katharina is gonna go abroad.
If you want my opinion.
So, another reason why I wonder if a Metaphor sequel could be set in a different part of this world. And yeah, Katharina is gonna be somebody out there gathering intel from faraway lands. I kind of wonder if, like, cause that is the thing, like, that angle was not really implied in terms of her, like, going through her bond, you wouldn't really think that would be her end goal. I wonder if they should have focused on that more, as how she shifts what she wants to do with her life. Yeah, so this right here, some people think that there might be a little bit of potential shipping implied there, but no, I still prefer Yufa. Wooden doll sculpture. Unfortunately, this is gonna buff the brawler archetype, which not really gonna be that useful for the endgame. But still, it's cool that this was made by all the people that she knows. I do like how everyone emphasizes that beating Luis is just the start. Nothing's just gonna magically get better. That is one, like, slight issue with the ending of Persona 5 to me, in the sense that, like, because, like, Yaldabaoth was, like, brainwashing everyone, literally everything does get magically better after you beat Yaldabaoth, which, that's not really how things work in the real world. Though granted, there is the fact that, like, the do you believe in the Phantom Thieves is still down to only 50%, and some people just kind of don't even remember, and some people just still don't even care about the Phantom Thieves after it's all over. It's still, it's a little more nuanced than I give it credit for.
Oh?
Speaking of nuance, though, yeah, Alonso is the master of nuance in his bond. it's always the character that you didn't expect to like that you end up liking the most. I remember having that reaction to Seteth in Fire Emblem Three Houses. First impression, I really did not expect to like him, but he really surprised me. Granted, I also didn't expect to like Manuela on first impression, and my ultimate impression of her was, she's okay. So it doesn't always work. Bring it on.
It's true, but
Interesting.
It's also interesting how Alonso's being much more of a realist than a lot of the others. He's already thinking, okay, here's exactly what's going to go wrong once you're king, and here's how we can start figuring out a plan for dealing with it. Yeah, the top one gives you the most here. This is one of the few where you can actually miss the +4.
But
I do feel like Alonso probably could serve more in the role of like some kind of spy master, maybe working with Katharina when it comes to gathering intel.
moving on.
Huh, yeah, that's true.
It's fine.
Words to tell anybody when they're fighting Atlas superbosses.
Well then,
This game does have one of those, but it is New Game Plus only, which is, I probably will try and show this one day. To trust Alonso to not actually personally hand over his gift. Man of many faces. But not debts, like that one quest in Persona 5. He's already settled a lot of his debts. We're already down to Yufa. Our last few are just going to be with the party members and more. Because, yeah, that is the thing. Okay, first thing I want to mention about the New Game Plus Super Boss. So, like, yeah, I'll probably try and do a video of that eventually. It's going to take me a little bit because I really don't enjoy going through New Game Plus. Like, I just don't find it fun being that overpowered all the time. And in Metaphor, your New Game Plus overpoweredness doesn't really end until, like, almost the very end of the game. So having to go all the way up to that point just to stand a chance against the Super Boss, it's gonna take a while.
why?
Here.
Yeah, I thought this had to do with Rella. But yeah, like, as I was saying about, Alonso, it is one of the kind of things about this game that I did comment on earlier in the playthrough that, like, after Martyra, you basically stop getting bonds that aren't party members. And some people have argued that makes sense because the later areas are definitely more hostile to, like, the prince. Or at least less familiar in the case of Brylehaven, though Brylehaven has its fair share of racism and hostility. But it does mean that, like, once you're past, like, the kind of halfway point of the game, it's like, there's not really much more mystery when it comes to bonds. It's just like, every future bond you get is just a new party member. So it would have been nice to have, to have had a few more extra non-party member bonds. I don't agree that it should have been a Denny, though. I feel like a Denny's fine with how he was used in the story. Anyway.
Huh?
Oh, that didn't. I mean, it feels like a little bit meta as well. It's like the moment that happens, then you know then our Bond storyline is over. Yeah, either of those, yeah.
Thanks.
And like again, you could get potential romantic implications out of that, but also it's way less blatant than Yufa, so I still think Will and Yufa is more implied. Speaking of romance, though, I'm gonna have to talk about that soon, because you'll see. Erica flower bookmark. Wait, are those the? Oh yeah, those are those flowers. Yeah, sometimes reclaiming something that used to be a symbol of pain can be can be a good thing. And yeah, I should probably save Euphas because Euphas is a little special.
I'll do it.
Wow, okay, I'm sad seeing the home slum. I didn't notice that until now. But yeah, when I said I'm gonna have to talk about romance, you thought that it would be about Eupha, but actually, no, it's because of Basilio's final events. The last time I checked, protagonist slash Basilio actually did have a decent number of fics on AO3, but Eupha still, yeah.
All right.
For a time, Eupha was actually below Hulkenberg and Gallica, but both of those fell off quite a bit. Yeah, some people have commented on that video that it seems like every close personal friend of Basilio or family member ends up dying. However, that also means that Luis was pretty close to Basilio at some point in his life, and so Luis will also be affected by that curse. Yeah, like, this is true though. Often you take for granted that the people in your life won't be around forever.
Listen.
Yeah. I'll tell.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is what I wanted to talk about. It is implied that Basilio may have had feelings for Rella. It's subtle, and I like that it never actually comes up until now. And it's just got me thinking about how viable that would have been if they ever got to know each other more. Like, perhaps if they did, maybe it could have worked.
It'll be fine. Obviously.
Because I do think, and some protagonist Juna shippers may disagree, but I honestly do think that if Fidelio had not had his life cut untimely short, I think Fidelio and Juna could have worked. Because they did know each other for quite a while. Basilio talks about how genuine Fidelio, like, was around her. And yes, there was the fact that, like, Juna was kind of deceiving them the whole time. So that's kind of an issue. But I do feel like that if the two brothers hadn't managed to break away from Luis at the same time, I do think that Fidelio and Juna could have made it work. Basilio and Rella, I am not so sure. And the main reason for that is simply that, I don't think they really knew each other that well. They kind of only really interacted that one time when Rella saved him. I feel like Basilio, to me it almost, this is a weird analogy I suddenly thought of. To me it feels a bit more like Quasimodo and Esmeralda and Hunchback of Notre Dame. How, like, that deep affection came from just one moment, but he never really got to know her as a person, like the one who eventually ended up falling for her did. I think that's more how I see Basilio and Rella. I'm not saying that it couldn't have worked if they didn't get to know each other more in a hypothetical future where she didn't horribly die. And, like, the fact that, like, Rella's fate was sealed from the moment she was 12, it never could have really happened anyway, outside of some kind of alternate universe fanfic. But I think they would have to spend a lot more time together, I feel, for it to actually be viable as a romance to me, whereas I do feel like Fidelio and Juna could have worked. But that's just me. I don't know what you people in the comments think about that, but it's something that I do think about sometimes.
It's finally here.
Speaking of romances that I think about sometimes, like, I don't know if I mentioned this before, like I would totally write Will and Eupha fanfiction. The problem is, I would have to write it about, like, when Will becomes king, and that would mean that I would have to write politics as well as this game does, and I'm just very intimidated to do that. This game is just so good at writing politics and ideologies and racism and, like, that kind of conflict that I just, like, and they're really heavy topics in the real world that can make your writing and yourself look really bad if you screw them up, so I'm just a little intimidated. It's also part of why I don't really write that much in the way of Persona fanfiction, because I'm not Japanese, so I just feel like I don't really have the experience of that culture. I wouldn't be able to portray it authentically. And yes, I have alluded to this before. It's not just gonna magically make everything better. But no, we are prepared.
Oh.
So that's the only option that gives Mag here.
Now that you mention it.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah. He's kind of unsubtly hinting at something here.
Yeah.
And, let's also hint at something of our own here.
Thanks.
In response. Yes, it's quite clear that she does more than just trust you, if you get my drift. Oh yeah, and of course he's giving the Big Brother talk. Like, yeah, this is why I said that the Yufa thing is way more blatant with the romantic hints, because Edeni is straight up giving the whole Big Brother, if you ever do anything to her, I will hunt you down and kick your ass. Sorry, it sounds awkward when I say ass because I'm not American. But ass just sounds hilarious to anybody who's not American, so I'm screwed either way.
What is it?
I was telling him that if perchance somebody were to date Yufa and break her heart, that those sharks, let's just say, might be eating good for a few weeks.
See this for yourself.
Well, and now he's gonna switch his tune to, oh, you say you had something to give him? Please let it be a ring, please let it be a ring, please let it be a ring, please let it be a ring. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh! I was about... I was about to say, please let it be connected to some kind of romantic legend, and if it's not, I'm gonna make up one. But it is. Straight up, wives used to give that to their husbands. I'm not implying anything whatsoever at all with this. I'm just imagining, like, Yufa, like, introducing, like, Will to people and going, hello, this is my husband. Wait, crap, I didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry, I love Will and Mew. It's just really cute. There's also some really good fan art of it out there. I think I have to find him myself.
Right. Now, where was I?
Yeah, because it won't let me just, warp to Academia via the Bond menu. This is a weird thing to talk about right now, but, part of, why I don't really look up art of Persona ships is that I feel like the vast majority of Persona ship art is, let's just say, very much not wholesome.
Leave it to me.
Yes.
Huh.
I have faith
I
in you.
guess. Maybe. Yeah, this actually gives you the most mag, funnily enough. When did you become so shrewd? Well, since we'd started to deal with Alonso and Brigida. Yeah, finally explaining those.
Indeed.
That is a familiar path, but also Grand Trad. Well, hopefully Grand Trad will be less racist once we're, on the throne.
Please. I thank you.
Oh, that does sound nice. It's kind of both him and Maria that we've made that promise to. And even more has one of these.
What say you?
White raven quill, but how is it like a writing desk?
I can hardly wait.
I remember as a kid that, like, that's from Alice in Wonderland. It confused me so much because, like, I didn't get that like, my parents explained to me, oh, no, the joke is that it makes no sense. And I'm like, what? But that's not a joke. I don't get it. Also, cat.
Here, kitty.
Oh. Hey.
Yes.
I mean, granted, he is opening up the throne to anyone. Not discriminating with candidates is a feature of democracy, after all.
Grant me a moment.
Got a moment?
Adieu.
Still some more mysteries involving more, but we'll surely find out in due time.
Oh. You'll come.
So as we go around, you might notice that there aren't any activities to do tonight. The only thing we can do is go back to bed and do Gallica's final Bond events. Although, now's a good time to pick up my mag from the Royal Rock. This might be the last chance to do so. But we are pretty much neck and neck.
Let's see.
For the first time. That Rock's been a double header, and yeah, well, 300,000.
Yep.
One quick thing that I will recommend, though, is to keep a save file from this night. Why? Because of this. Whee! There is an achievement for riding a certain distance on the sword, and it is surprisingly difficult to get. Not only will you no longer be able to do this after you head out to the final dungeon, but your progress on this achievement resets on New Game Plus. So, yeah, you might want to keep this save file to reload and just run around in circles for a bit with the sword until the achievement pops. That and Triangle in Gallica. There's an achievement called Hey Listen for talking to Gallica an insane amount of times, and now is your last chance to get that.
Wanna head back? Wanna head back? Wanna head back? Wanna head back?
Oh, I got it! Nice, there we go! Hey! I was thinking that I wouldn't do that, but my Triangle in Gallica's actually paid off! Now, will I actually be able to get this by riding in circles? I wonder if I can check Steam to see how close I am to it. The raw footage for this video has already gone for over 2 hours, so I think it's probably best that I try and get the rest of it off screen. Because for now, it's time to rest.
Good night.
Okay, good, late night. My heart skipped a beat there thinking, did I miss Gallica's?
Hey.
No, it is automatic. Well, technically, in the beginning, it was only you, because we didn't even exist.
Well... Yep.
Yeah, this makes sense given that we just, went and talked to everyone.
What kind of...
Yeah, a real
Let's
king.
see.
Does that imply that everyone else is a fake king? Actually, yes. Previous king fell to despair, and Luis is, well, yeah, he would suck horribly. A hope combined with a fear? I mean, in a way, yeah. And it is true, he does genuinely believe in his own ideology, but I also think Luis himself is very driven by... It's a combination of believing in his own ideology, but also just sheer hate and wanting to get back at the world.
Let's have faith.
Look forward to me talking about that during the final dungeon. I have a lot to say about Luis's ideology.
Here.
And here we get our last of these items. That's for the mage line.
Good night.
Good night, Gallica. Good night, everyone. And I'll see you all next time.
The day of the hero draws near, which shall see the crowning of a new king. One day remains.